this whole world. Last time we discussed the impact of Iranian war on global supply chain. And today we are going to go a little bit deeper and we will be trying to kind of peel the onion a little more. And before that, let's just understand the bigger picture.
That sounds like
There
a
is
thoughtful start, and your message of peace is always
there
meaningful.
there
As you
is
peel back,
there is always apologize for the interruption, but there is always like three aspect of any war, and especially this war. There are three aspects. The first aspect really is the geopolitical aspect, and there are a lot of analysts who are actually really going day and night talking about the geopolitical aspect of this war and how that is going to impact the politics of the world and maybe even the geography of the world. And then the other side, which basically is the religious side of this war. Unfortunately, religion is playing a big role, believe it or not. Of course, there are three main big religion of the world are involved. Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And reality is that we all know that this war is really initiated by Israel. So basically, it's really um, sort of the Judaism, not really in its real terms, but whatever, Zionism or certain parts of Judaism is really taking this war to the heart. And they really see this as as an effort to uh, gain their right back for controlling the entire Middle East, and then hence building the third temple, and then our religious Christian friends believe that that really is also their religious duty to support that so the Messiah can come back. And I don't know if most of you know, but Muslims also believe that Messiah is going to come back, and they don't mind Messiah coming back. But unfortunately, Messiah coming out through the slitting of humanity's throat is not really a very good idea. And then I think we're not being giving a good God's message by killing humanity. So I hope our religious folks will really pay attention to that. That what message are we giving to those who don't follow the religion? Are they follow the religion, but they don't believe that any Messiah would like to kill the humanity and build a temple based on slitting people's throat. But then, really, the underlined message here is the global supply chain control and dominance. And really, that, in my opinion, is the biggest purpose and challenge in this entire, war of economies, big war of titans that really America want its dominance on the whole world. I mean, you can actually can't blame it. I mean, when countries are big and they want to make sure that they remain big, they want to keep a good control of all of the resources. So they know that 20% of the hydrocarbons products like the oil and gas comes from just through the Strait of Hormuz. 20%. You can originate from different countries, but if you can't transport it, what are you going to do with it? So that really is a major global supply chain challenge. Likewise, the whole global south is really now taking the control of whole global supply chain. Look where most of the products of of the whole world come from. I mean, China has become such a big player. And then, the second largest population in the world after China, which is very close to China, is India. And India is also in global south. So China is about 1.45 billion and India is about 1.42 billion, something like that. I mean, the numbers change a little bit, but it's definitely, 1.4 some billion in each country. So they're very, very similar population wise. And you know, they're both in Asia and they're both in global south, and they both have very large footprint. But China really have a very, very big footprint on economy, and especially it is the second largest economy right now by GDP. But reality is that it's becoming really the first largest very quickly. But that is also the only economy, only large economy that really is not under debt. It's a real economy with their own assets, and they are actually, wouldn't be wrong to say that they are actually very big lender, not really big borrower, whereas US is big borrower. So, but US also have the largest, um, war machinery in the world, so that they want to make sure that they get control, and that's the reason Trump controlled Venezuela first, because they got a very big, energy hub under control. Now, unfortunately, the crude oil that comes from Venezuela is heavy oil, whereas the light oil comes from Iran. And Iran's oil is kind of untapped for the whole world. And most of that is really taken by China. And where is it going through? Is going through the Strait of Hormuz. So, if you really look at it, and if you ask me, being a global supply chain student, I'll say it's really not the war of um, politics. It's not really geopolitical or a religious war. It's actually a global supply chain war, and the rest is all used to dominate the supply chain. So, us being the supply chain folks, we really need to look at that. What are the impact and what's going to be the future like? There's lots of speculations out there. There's a lot of personal desires. There are a lot of religious connotations. A lot of time people are really trying to create a lot of scare. Some people are thinking it's end of times. Some people are thinking it's close to end of times, and they give many religious reasons. This is not the forum for me to give you, even though I am I'm a student of history as well, and I'm a keen student of history and keen student of religions, and I will be talking about that at some point. But right now, my focus is really the supply chain routes and economic corridors, so you can see that how important it is to dominate the supply chain. So let's first understand that who really have the global supply chain network in global south, who really owns that network. So the very big owner of global south supply chain corridor is really China. China has a road and belt initiative called BRI. Under the BRI, there are 8 different corridors. Now look at these corridors and how many countries it touches. So first of all, China produced the most amount of goods that world consumes. More than 50% of commodities are apparel, are those things which we do use on daily basis. They are produced in China for the whole world. And now China would not be smart to build the right network to distribute those goods. I remember I used to go to China a lot in 90s and early 2000, and I see that every single day when you move anywhere, you see the roads are being built, and they didn't build the roads the way we built it. They didn't build, multi-lane roads with asphalt. Very, very slow process. They will bring huge concrete blocks, and then they will lay those blocks, and then in the morning you go and all you see is dirt road,
I'm
and then
sorry, but
then
you
the
hit the
night
decibel limit
night
for advanced voice.
then the night you will go, and then you will see, when you're coming back, you will see the road is already established. So this is how they build the roads. Just to give you the idea of the scale, I mean, if we see that we have New York is a huge city, believe me, there are many, many New York in China. Matter of fact, there could be many New York, even in one province. So there's the scale is huge, And once these guys, got probably tired of building in China, they started building all these corridors, and these corridors kind of almost connect throughout Asia, and definitely, parts of Europe and Russia and Africa. I think the only place where China's Belt and Road Initiative doesn't go is really America or Latin America. So let me just share with you what are those corridors so you can figure out the outreach of Chinese Belt and Road Initiative in Global South, or actually even Europe. So so BRI, the first one is China-Pakistan corridor, and that really is going all the old Silk Road, if you know, and going through entire Pakistan, and then connecting that to Gwadar port to Iran and rest of the countries. And then the next one is really uh, new Euro-Asian land bridge economic corridor. Now that really connect, uh, you know, Asia and Europe. And then the next one is China, Mongolia, Russia economic corridor. Now it connects clearly from Mongolia to Russia, again to China. And then China, Central Asia, West Asia. And then China, Indonesia, Peninsula Economic Corridor. China, Indonesia Peninsula. And then Bangladesh, China, India Corridor. And then China, Laos, Thailand, and Malaysia Corridor. China, Laos, Thailand, and Malaysia Corridor. And then the eighth one is really 21st century maritime Silk Road. Now, it's not really a Silk Road, and the old Silk Road, the old route that was going through Central Asia and to India from old China that used to call Silk Road. It still is there. It's amazing, amazing road built in those days. It's mind-boggling that how they built that difficult route in those days. It's very wide and very vast, very long. But now this 21st century maritime Silk Road is really connecting the maritime, connecting the seaports, in throughout Asia, Africa, and Europe. So this is really, look at this network developed by China. It has well over $1 trillion trade, and it's not 100% complete, but it's the most complete among all the other routes. Now, the next route, which is basically built by Russia, that is NSR, Russia Arctic route. Now, by the way, BRI is about 5,000 miles long if you look at one straight line, whereas the Russia Arctic route is NSR is about 8,000 miles, but it's only really goes through the Russia and connects to China. And then EAEU route, EAEU route, and that really is about 3,000 miles long, and that goes through Russia, Kazakhstan, and Belarus. Russia, Kazakhstan, and Belarus. And then IMEC, IMEC route, and that's India, Middle East, Europe. Now that is really the route which United States, America is trying to develop in competition with Chinese BRI. Now look at the Chinese BRI and look at American route, which is nowhere even, it hasn't even started yet. It's called India, Middle East, Europe. The idea is connecting India through Middle East to Europe, and that's really will it replace some of the route China is trying to develop, portion of the CPEC and portion of new Euro-Asian land bridge. But reality is that is 8 to 10 years away, whereas Chinese BRI is really already, working. Portion of it's already working. $1 trillion projected is already close to that. They're pretty close to it. Whereas the IMEC route, which is developed by in cooperation and in under control of United States, that's only future potential. So not only we did not We did not rebuild our infrastructure in the United States, and we have aging, infrastructure in United States after Second World War. Before Second World War or during Second World War, we actually built the best road system and infrastructure in the United States in the entire world. But then we quiet down and we started focusing on other things. Our energies are not really focused on the global supply chain routes. Instead, our infrastructure, instead, we started focusing on the war economy and then maybe somewhat technology. But unfortunately, China is even way ahead of the game when it comes to AI. I mean, it's still to be seen. But if you really go to any AI conference, you'll see lots and lots of Chinese, and it's really alarming that how we are doing in China. I mean, in the technologies front as well. May God help us. So anyway, going back to now when you're looking at all these corridors and you look at where the war is going, now you need to ponder: is it really geopolitical reason? Is it really religious reason? Or is it really the supply chain dominance? So I believe that America and its allies are badly looking for supply chain dominance. And this is an extremely important point. If the United States control this point, it will be a huge blow to China and Russia in reality. Now, interestingly, China and Russia seems very quiet in this whole war, and America and Israel really seem gung ho. Now, Israel has some other motive. They have geopolitical, but more importantly, even religious, motive, and they want to exercise their God-given right of controlling the land in the entire Middle East. You know, lack of better words, they want to control from Euphrates to Nile, and that's what they have this biblical thinking. And according to Mike Huckabee in Tucker Carlson's interview, that's really their God-given right. I don't think that is really that simple, but that honestly, it seems that the religion is being used to motivate uh, people or do whatever to somehow create dominance in the areas. Israel want to dominate the Middle East, and United States want to dominate the global supply chain. Unfortunately, it is very difficult to say who's using who's controlling who. It's very, very difficult. The lines are very blurry. But the most important thing is that supply chain is going to be a difficult transition in the next few months. This war, unfortunately, will not be very short, but I don't believe it's going to be very long either. I do not believe it's going to go on years. It's not going to be like the Russian war or like the any other long Middle East war. This is going to be, in my humble opinion, going to be short because I don't think neither United States nor Iran or China, Russia can hold this war for very long. It's not possible because 20% of global supply comes through the Strait of Hormuz. And if and of course energy plays a very, very big role in prices, in economies, in GDP, and in commodity even pricing. So I mean, I worked as a global supply chain head of global supply chain for 20 years, and I know anytime energy costs go up and down, commodities really shake big time, whether they are directly related to oil and gas or even indirectly. Everything has impact. And then if I mean the price of a barrel was $60 per gallon, and now it's really heading toward $150 per barrel. And imagine they're saying it could go even hit $300 per barrel. So it's very, very important that this war go under control. And I believe there will be a lot of pressure on Trump and on other entities to end this war quickly. And I hope, especially from the human atrocities and from the global supply chain network point of view that this war stops. However, I must say that China has developed so many routes. Even if you control this route, it may not really put a big dent in China's supply. It will not put a big dent in U.S. direct supply because U.S. already have lots and lots of reserves and resources locally as well as in Venezuela. But Europe and global South will have a major impact, and they can't bear it. So for that reason, I believe this war is going to be short-lived, and nobody's going to be a clear winner in this war. You mark my word. There's going to be a major supply chain challenge for next few months to a year almost. But beyond that, God knows the real future. But I do not see that beyond a year this is going to be a challenge. Matter of fact, there may be some more opportunities. I am a positive thinker, and I do believe optimistic that maybe this will teach some lessons to all stakeholders, including Iran, Israel, and America, and the rest of the Middle East. I believe there will be new alignment of the Middle East because Middle East feel that they were not protected and they have bases to protect themselves. But unfortunately, these bases are actually coming to harm them more than helping them. So there's going to be new alliances in Middle East. There will be new acceptance of Iran. There will be new thinking in Israel, and there will be new thinking in USA, and also there will be some new thinking in China and Russia. And I believe that is going to actually bring everybody to sanity after we are said and done. May God bless everybody, and may God bless humanity. May God bless you all. Thank you.